Story 1. The hum of the fluorescent lights in my cramped apartment seemed to deepen, vibrating in the very marrow of my bones. Rain lashed against the window, blurring the city lights into a sickly, shimmering smear. Another notification pinged on my phone. "Check this out," it read, from my friend Liam. A link. Another damned link. Liam was obsessed with these things. Cryptic, grainy images he'd find on some obscure corner of the internet, claiming they were proof. Proof of what, he never really explained. I usually just scrolled past, but tonight, something felt different. The air was heavy, static crackling in the silence between the rain's onslaught. I clicked. The image was a blurred mess of static, punctuated by what looked like faces. Distorted, inhuman faces swirling within the digital noise. It made my stomach churn. Creepy, right? Liam messaged. There's a whole subreddit dedicated to these. Something's off. Dude, it's just static, I typed back, trying to sound nonchalant, though my heart was hammering against my ribs. Bad reception or something. No, listen. He sent a voice message. His voice was shaky, strained. There's patterns in the static. And the audio. God, the audio. Hesitantly, I plugged in my headphones. The audio accompanying the image was initially just white noise, a hiss like wind through dead leaves. But then, beneath the hiss, something shifted. A low, guttural drone, like the moan of some colossal, unseen beast. It pulsated, growing louder, twisting into dissonant chords that seemed to claw at my sanity. I ripped the headphones out, my ears ringing. Liam, this is freaking me out, I texted, my hands trembling. What the hell is this? He didn't respond. Over the next few hours, I tried calling him. Texting. Nothing. Just silence. The rain intensified, mirroring the growing unease in my gut. The static image burned into my mind's eye. Those faces, they felt familiar, somehow. Like a half-forgotten nightmare. Then, the notification started. Hundreds of them. Flooding my phone from every social media platform. All from unknown accounts. All with the same image. The static. The faces. I tried to block them, to delete the apps, but they kept coming. My phone vibrated incessantly in my hand, growing hot to the touch. The static seemed to bleed from the screen, filling my vision. The droning sound returned, louder this time, echoing in my skull, in the very fabric of reality. The room began to warp around me. The walls seemed to breathe, pulsating with the rhythm of the drone. The rain outside intensified into a torrential downpour, and through the distorted windowpane, I saw things. Shapes moving in the storm. Vast, amorphous shadows blotting out the city lights. My reflection in the window no longer looked like me. My features were shifting, distorting, mimicking the grotesque visages in the static. My skin felt cold, clammy. My breath hitched in my throat. Then, the power went out. Plunged into darkness, the only light came from my phone, still vibrating, still spewing forth its endless stream of notifications. The static image now dominated the screen, pulsing with an unholy light. The drone reached a fever pitch, vibrating the air around me. I heard a scratching at my door. Slow, deliberate scratches. Like something large dragging its claws across the wood. Terror, raw and primal, seized me. I backed away, stumbling over furniture in the darkness. The scratching grew louder, more insistent. Then, a voice. A whisper, sibilant and chilling, filtering through the cracks in the door. A voice that spoke not in words, but in the language of the static, the language of the drone. A voice that resonated with something deep within my being, something ancient and horrifying. It was calling my name. I huddled in the corner, my phone clutched in my hand, the static image illuminating my terrified face. The scratching stopped. The whispering ceased. The drone faded into a low, ominous hum. Silence. Except for the incessant ping of notifications. Hundreds of them. All with the same image. The static. The faces. And one new message. From Liam. They're here. My phone slipped from my numb fingers, clattering to the floor. The screen flickered, displaying the static one last time before going black. The scratching returned. Louder. Closer. Something was at my door. And then, nothing. The rain stopped. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. I sit here, in the dark, unsure of what happened, unsure of what is happening. Unsure if I'm alone. The remnants of the drone still echo faintly in my mind. The faces still linger in my vision. My phone is dead. I'm afraid to charge it. Afraid to see what awaits me when the screen lights up again. Afraid of what I might become. Story 2. Story 2, The Whispers in the Feed. It started subtly. A flicker in my peripheral vision while scrolling through Instagram. A distorted image in my Facebook feed, a face stretched and grotesque, gone before I could screenshot it. I dismissed them as glitches, my tired eyes playing tricks. I was a writer, constantly glued to my laptop, my phone an extension of my arm. My social media presence was my lifeblood, my connection to the world, my income. One evening, while responding to comments on a recent post, I heard it. A faint whisper, like static on an old radio, laced with something malicious. I pulled my earbuds out, the silence of my apartment thick and heavy. Hello? I called out, half expecting my roommate, Sarah, to emerge from her room. Nothing. I put my earbuds back in, the whisper returning, clearer this time. A rasping, guttural sound that seemed to slither directly into my brain. It spoke my name. I ripped the earbuds out, heart pounding. My hand trembled as I reached for my phone, the smooth glass suddenly feeling cold and alien. I checked my messages, my notifications. Nothing unusual. Just stress, I muttered, rubbing my temples. Sarah found me like that, hunched over my phone, my face pale. Rough day, she asked, offering me a sympathetic smile. Yeah, I managed, forcing a smile back. Just writer's block. But the whispers continued. They became a constant companion, weaving their way through every notification, every comment, every like. They grew louder, more insistent, feeding on my growing unease. The flickering images became more frequent, the distorted faces leering from my screen, their eyes burning holes into my soul. My followers started to change. New accounts, with blank profile pictures and disturbing usernames, began to follow me, leaving cryptic comments under my posts. We see you, you're not alone, join us. I tried to block them, to report them, but they kept reappearing, multiplying like a digital virus. My sleep became fragmented, punctuated by nightmares of twisted figures reaching out from my phone screen, their whispers echoing in my ears. I started to see things in the real world too. Shadows moving in the corner of my eye, fleeting glimpses of distorted faces in the reflections of shop windows. The line between the digital and the real began to blur. Sarah noticed the change in me. The dark circles under my eyes, the constant jumpiness, the way I flinched at every notification. Are you sure you're okay? She asked one evening, her brow furrowed with concern. I'm fine, I snapped, the words sharp and brittle. Just a little stressed, that's all. I couldn't tell her. How could I explain the whispers, the faces, the growing sense of dread that clung to me like a second skin? She wouldn't believe me. She'd think I was losing my mind. Then, one night, it escalated. I was scrolling through my Twitter feed when the whispers intensified, coalescing into a single, chilling voice. We're coming for you. My phone vibrated violently in my hand, the screen flickering uncontrollably. The distorted faces multiplied, merging into a single, monstrous visage that filled the screen, its eyes burning with an unholy light. The room grew cold, a bone-chilling cold that seeped into my very marrow. I screamed, throwing my phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, the screen spiderwebbing into 1,000 fractured pieces. Silence. blessed, terrifying silence. I lay huddled on my bed, shaking uncontrollably, the image of the monstrous face seared onto my retinas. Sarah rushed into my room, her face etched with worry. "What happened?" she asked, her voice trembling. I couldn't speak. I just pointed to the shattered phone on the floor. She looked at it, then back at me, her eyes wide with confusion and fear. What is that?" she whispered, pointing to a dark, viscous substance oozing from the cracked screen. It pulsed and throbbed, spreading across the floor like a living thing. The whispers started again, softer now, but closer, seeming to emanate from the oozing substance. "We're here," they hissed. Sarah backed away slowly, her eyes fixed on the spreading darkness. I wanted to scream, to run, to do something, anything, but I was paralyzed with fear. The darkness reached the wall, began to climb, twisting and writhing like a mass of tentacles. The whispers grew louder, filling the room, drowning out all other sounds. And then, everything went black. I don't know what happened after that. I woke up in the hospital, bandaged and bruised, with no memory of the events of that night. Sarah was gone. The police said she disappeared without a trace. My apartment was empty, scrubbed clean, as if nothing had ever happened. But I know. I remember the whispers, the faces, the darkness. They are still out there, somewhere in the digital ether, waiting. And I know they will be back. My phone is gone. I refuse to get a new one. But sometimes, late at night, I hear the whispers again, faint and distant, coming from somewhere deep inside the walls. I can't escape them. They are a part of me now. And I know, with a chilling certainty, that they are waiting for me to log back in. Story 3. Story 3, The Echo. It was a Thursday. Rain lashed against the window of my tiny apartment, blurring the city lights into hazy orange smears. The rhythmic drumming was almost soothing, a stark contrast to the anxiety churning in my gut. I scrolled through Instagram, the familiar blue light washing over my face, a pathetic attempt to distract myself. Another influencer peddling teeth whitening strips. Another filtered sunset. Another perfectly posed brunch. A wave of nausea rolled over me. This curated reality, this constant performance, was suffocating. I tossed my phone onto the sofa, the dull thud echoing the emptiness in the room. I needed air. Pulling on my jacket, I stepped out into the downpour. The city streets, normally bustling, were deserted. The only sound was the relentless rain and the distant, rhythmic sloshing of my own footsteps. That's when I saw it. A notification light blinked on my phone screen, illuminating a single message, "Found you." My heart hammered against my ribs. I hadn't brought my phone. It was on the sofa, inside. I fumbled for my keys, the metal cold against my trembling fingers. I rushed back inside, slamming the door behind me, the bolt clicking home with a hollow finality. My phone lay on the sofa where I'd left it. The screen was dark. I snatched it up, my hand shaking. No new messages. Nothing. Just the usual barrage of unopened promotional emails and the echo of my own anxiety. I tried to rationalize it. A glitch. My mind playing tricks. But the uneasy feeling persisted, a cold knot tightening in my stomach. I checked the locks, double-checking, triple-checking. Then I checked the windows, peering into the rain-streaked darkness. Nothing. Over the next few days, the unsettling feeling intensified. I felt watched, observed. Little things, easily dismissed, a flicker in my peripheral vision, a fleeting shadow in the corner of my eye, the soft click of a key in the lock when I knew I was alone, chipped away at my sanity. My social media accounts became a source of both fascination and dread. Photos of me, taken without my knowledge, started appearing on obscure accounts I didn't recognize. They were mundane, everyday moments, me buying groceries, waiting for the bus, walking home in the rain. But the captions were unsettling. She's so unaware. She doesn't know what's coming. Soon. I deleted the accounts, blocked the users, reported them. but they kept reappearing, like digital weeds sprouting from poisoned soil. The messages grew bolder, more personal. I see you sleeping. I know what you're thinking. You can't hide. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside my window sent jolts of fear through me. The city, once a source of comfort, now felt like a menacing presence, closing in on me. I tried talking to friends, to family. But their responses were dismissive, laced with thinly veiled concern for my mental state. You're working too hard. You need a break. It's just social media. Their words felt like hollow echoes in the vast emptiness of my fear. They didn't understand. They couldn't understand. Then, one night, it happened. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to will myself to sleep, when I heard it. A soft scratching sound, coming from just outside my window. I froze, my heart pounding in my ears. The scratching grew louder, more insistent. I pulled the covers over my head, squeezing my eyes shut, willing it to stop. It didn't. Slowly, cautiously, I peeked out from under the covers. The window was open a crack. A pale, gaunt face, framed by stringy black hair, stared back at me. Its eyes, wide and unblinking, reflected the dim glow of the city lights. A thin, skeletal hand reached in, its long, bony fingers tapping against the glass. I screamed, a primal, guttural sound that ripped through the silence of the night. The face vanished. The scratching stopped. I scrambled out of bed, fumbling for my phone. I dialed 911, my voice trembling, barely coherent. The operator's calm, reassuring voice did little to quell the terror that gripped me. The police arrived quickly, 2 young officers, their faces etched with a mixture of concern and skepticism. They searched the apartment, the surrounding streets. They found nothing. Probably just a kid, one of them said, his tone dismissive. Trying to scare you. I knew he didn't believe me. Nobody did. I spent the rest of the night huddled on the sofa, clutching my phone, scrolling through my social media feeds. Silence. No new messages. No cryptic photos. Nothing. But the fear remained, a cold, hard knot in the pit of my stomach. I knew, with a chilling certainty, that it wasn't over. That somewhere, out there in the vast, interconnected digital world, it was watching. Waiting. And then, as the first rays of dawn crept through the window, illuminating the empty room, I saw it. A new notification. A single message. I'm inside. Story 4. Story 4, the filter. It started with a filter. Just a silly, glittery filter on Instagram. One that made your eyes enormous, anime-esque, and your skin flawless, porcelain smooth. Everyone was using it. It was trending. I, a creature of habit, a slave to the algorithm, naturally followed suit. Looking cute, babe, my boyfriend, Mark, commented under my filtered selfie. Thanks, babe, I typed back, grinning. Validation. A small dopamine hit. It was a Wednesday night. Rain hammered against the windows of my tiny apartment, a steady, almost comforting rhythm. Later, scrolling through my feed, I noticed something odd. Several friends had posted pictures using the same filter, but their eyes, they weren't just big. They were unnervingly huge, almost bulging. It must be a glitch, I thought, dismissing it. The next day, the feeling lingered. I looked at my own filtered selfie again. My eyes, too, seemed slightly more exaggerated than they had been initially. I tried different angles, different lighting. The effect persisted. A subtle, gnawing unease began to creep into me. Hey, have you noticed something weird about that filter? I asked Sarah, my closest friend, over coffee on Friday. She shrugged. Like what? It's just a filter, Leah. No, but the eyes. They look wrong, I insisted, showing her my phone. Sarah just laughed. You're being paranoid. It's just a bit of fun. That night, the rain returned, heavier this time. It lashed against my window panes like angry fists. I was scrolling through Instagram again, unable to sleep. The filter was everywhere. And now, it wasn't just the eyes. People's faces seemed stretched, distorted, unhuman. I saw a picture of Mark. He'd used the filter. His eyes were colossal, dominating his face. His skin was impossibly smooth, but beneath it, I could almost see something shifting. Something pulsing. I called him. It went straight to voicemail. My heart hammered in my chest. The rain intensified, mirroring the rising panic within me. I started to see the distortion in the real world. My own reflection in the window seemed off. My eyes too large, my skin too pale. I recoiled, gasping. By Saturday morning, the world felt warped. People on the street seemed to have subtly altered features, their eyes too wide, their smiles too fixed. I felt a growing disconnect from reality, as if a thin film separated me from the world around me. I tried to call Sarah again, but her phone was disconnected. I tried others. Nothing. Then, the notifications started. Hundreds of them. All from Instagram. All tagged with the filter. The pictures were grotesque. Faces melted, stretched into obscene parodies of humanity. The eyes, enormous, black voids staring out from distorted visages. I slammed my laptop shut, a choked sob escaping my throat. The feeling of being watched intensified, a palpable presence in my apartment. The rain was relentless now, a deafening roar outside. Suddenly, a sharp rap on my door. I froze, heart pounding against my ribs. I peered through the peephole. It was Mark. But his face? It was like the ones in the pictures. His eyes, vast and black, filled his face, reflecting the dim light of the hallway. His skin was stretched taut, almost translucent. "Leah," he said, his voice distorted, echoing. "Open the door." I stumbled back, a scream building in my throat. I didn't open the door. I couldn't. He knocked again, harder this time. The door rattled in its frame. "Leah," he repeated, the voice no longer his own, a chilling, inhuman resonance. "Let me in." I crawled back, further into the shadows of my apartment. My phone buzzed again. Another notification. This time, it was a direct message. From Mark. I clicked on it, my hand trembling. It was a picture. A picture of him, standing outside my door. But in the picture, his face was even more distorted, his eyes like black holes, consuming all the light. And beneath the picture, a single, chilling caption. "The filter looks better in person." The knocking continued, relentless, insistent. The rain hammered against the windows, a cacophony of sound. I huddled in the corner, phone clutched in my hand, the image of Mark's distorted face burned into my retina. The knocking stopped. A moment of silence, broken only by the drumming rain. Then, a soft, wet, sucking sound. As if something was melting. I haven't opened the door. I don't know what's out there. I can hear the rain, still pounding. And sometimes, beneath the roar of the storm, I hear another sound. A soft, wet, sucking sound. Getting closer. Story 5. Story 5, The Filter. It started with a filter. A silly, glittery filter on Instagram that made your skin look preternaturally smooth, your eyes enormous and luminous. Everyone was using it. My friends, colleagues, even my mom. I rolled my eyes at their filtered selfies, but secretly, I was envious. I took one myself. The filter was called Ethereal. It draped my face in a shimmering, almost iridescent light. It erased the tiny lines around my eyes, the slight asymmetry of my nose. I looked perfect. I hesitated, then posted it. The likes and comments poured in. Gorgeous. Stunning. Flawless. It felt validating. A warm glow spread through me, a feeling I hadn't experienced in a while. I started using the filter more often. Every selfie, every story. Then came the subtle changes. I noticed it first in the mirror. My skin seemed smoother. Almost too smooth. Like porcelain. I brushed it off. Good lighting, I told myself. But then, my eyes. They seemed larger, brighter. Almost unnervingly so. I felt a prickle of unease. "You look amazing lately," my friend Sarah said over coffee. "What's your secret?" I laughed, a nervous tremor in my voice. "Just good genes," I lied. But in the reflection of my coffee cup, I saw the subtle shimmer of the filter clinging to my face, even without my phone. The comments on my photos became stranger. "You look different. Unreal. Are you sure that's you?" One commenter, a stranger with a blank profile picture, simply wrote, "The ethereal claims its own." I tried to stop using the filter. I deleted the app. But it was too late. The changes were accelerating. My skin felt tight, stretched. My eyes were huge, dominating my face. They ached with a constant, dull throb. I couldn't sleep. My reflection terrified me. My phone buzzed. It was a direct message from the blank profile. "Embrace the change," it read. "Become truly ethereal." Attached was a photo. It was me. But different. My features were exaggerated, grotesque. My skin shimmered with an unnatural, almost metallic sheen. Long, thin tendrils sprouted from my temples, pulsing with a faint, sickening light. It was a horrifying premonition of what I was becoming. I screamed and threw my phone across the room. It landed with a sickening crack, the screen spiderwebbed. But even in the fractured glass, I saw it. The shimmer. The unnatural glow. It was on me. In me. I clawed at my face, trying to tear away the smoothness, the tightness. My fingernails scraped against my skin, leaving no mark. It felt like I was touching something artificial, something not human. The pain in my eyes intensified. I stumbled to the bathroom, desperately searching for any semblance of my former self in the mirror. But the reflection staring back at me was no longer mine. My eyes were enormous, black pools consuming my face. The shimmering tendrils had begun to sprout, writhing like worms beneath my skin. I could feel them pushing, stretching, reshaping me. My phone buzzed again, even with the cracked screen. The blank profile. "You cannot escape the ethereal," the message read. "It has chosen you." I wanted to scream, to run, to do anything to escape the horror that was consuming me. But my body felt heavy, sluggish. My movements were slow, unnatural. I was losing control. The tendrils burst through my skin, wrapping around my neck, my arms. They pulsed with a cold, alien energy. I could feel them burrowing deeper, intertwining with my muscles, my bones, my very being. My vision blurred. The bathroom swam around me. I could hear a strange, high-pitched whine, growing louder, closer. The last thing I saw before darkness claimed me was my reflection in the shattered mirror. A shimmering, grotesque mockery of my former self. A creature of the ethereal. My phone buzzed one last time. The blank profile had updated its picture. It was a photo of me. The new me. The ethereal me. And below it, a caption, "Join us." The buzzing stopped. The whine faded. Silence. Then, a faint scratching sound at my door. Slow, deliberate. Getting closer.